there. You're tuned into MEA Worldwide. I'm your host, Elena Jordan, and today I am sitting down with Krys Marshall.
Hi!
Love the show For All
you.
Mankind.
Thank you.
Absolutely incredible. And I'm not the only one, since it is the highest reviewed show on Apple TV.
I didn't know that! Yay!
Yes, everyone loves this show. And your character, Danielle Poole, absolutely standout character,
Thank
too.
you.
And I also have to say congratulations, because it was renewed for a second season even before it aired.
The secret's out. The secret's out.
And we also know that you have been promoted to series regular for the second
Thank you.
season, too.
Wow,
So
thank you so much.
very excited to see more from Danielle.
Thank you.
What has been your favorite part of playing this character that is breaking so many boundaries on the show?
Breaking boundaries. That's been the favorite part. I would say that, when I started this whole process, it came to me sort of very abruptly. I actually was brought into Junie and Libby, who cast our show. They brought me in for a different show, a Lena Waithe show about lesbians in their 20s, takes place present day. So I came to the audition in a sundress and Reebok sneakers, and I was just like, hey, I'm here to tell the story. And then they were like, hey, before you go, do you have a second to read this thing about NASA? Dun, dun, dun. I'm like, I don't know the first thing about science or space, so what am I doing reading this? But I went outside in the courtyard and I read it over, and I just thought, the story is so beautiful. I would be so friggin' lucky if I could tell this story. Let me just do my little part and see what happens. So I came back in, I did it, found out that night I was pinned, found out the next day I booked it, and the day after that I was on set. So it was like such a crazy experience to get the job and be thrown head on into this world of NASA and science and astronomy and engineering, and also the civil rights movement has just happened and the Equal Rights Amendment is in play, and there's so many different incredible aspects to our culture that are all sort of fused into 1969. So it came to me in such a tidal wave of joy and also feeling overwhelmed. But now that we're in the second season and I'm really sort of in the groove of this, it's so much fun. It's such a fun role to play, and I love our cast. We have a blast together. But knowing that I'm breaking ground and telling this story and telling the story of a female astronaut, a black female astronaut, I know I have a lot of responsibility on my shoulders, but I think I can handle it. Yeah.
I mean, I would say you definitely can handle it, because you have been
you.
doing such a phenomenal job on the show. Cannot wait to see more
Thank
from
you.
it as well. When did you find out, though, that your character was going to be this larger role? Because the first few episodes kind of steered us one way, and then it was like, okay, now the focus, though, is on the women, these strong female characters, and your character being the first African American in NASA on the show, too. When did you find out that it was going to be this really big, meaty role?
So our producers are really good about keeping everything very tight-lipped. And we don't know why that is, but they don't let us know anything until they absolutely need us to. And so I discovered that I would be going to the moon when the costume department had to hire the folks to make the costume and to pull it all together. And so that's when I was like, what? You gotta be kidding me! Because there's so many female astronauts in the beginning, you hope that you all get a chance to go to the moon, but you don't know you do. And so then shortly thereafter, of course, I read episodes 6 and 7, and then was just completely blown away by the story.
That is so incredible that you basically had your own plot line spoiled for you from the
Exactly.
wardrobe department before you
Exactly.
even got the script.
It's true, yeah.
So it's the whole big thing of, is this engineer, she's an astronaut candidate, is she going to get it? Now we know.
Yeah.
Wardrobe told you.
Yeah.
But this isn't also your first foray into space either. We know you played a Kryptonian on the beloved. I love Supergirl. Loved your character.
Totally different world.
Very
Completely different world. Also so fun. I will say there are very few similarities between Supergirl and For All Mankind, but a lot of wire work in both shows, a ton of wire work. So some of the other girls were like, oh my gosh, this is so uncomfortable. And I was like, this is old hat. I spent a whole TV show just hanging in the sky, doing green screen. So yeah, that I was familiar with. But I will say that, every job that you do, you kind of sort of codify and galvanize who you are as an actor. You become more and more comfortable with working on little sleep. You become more and more comfortable with sort of taking down those personal boundaries of like what you can and cannot do. Each job you're set up with something where they say, this is what you're going to be doing today, and you have to take it on, So I learned so much in doing Supergirl. That show moves so quickly. There's so much CGI involved and special effects and all those things. And so you really have to kind of take your ego out of the way and just say, okay, I'm here to serve this story, even if it means I'm hanging upside down in this wire for the next hour and a half.
I will say, the one thing that is kind of similar between the two is that it provides these strong female characters, especially for young women who are looking up to, especially in For All Mankind, these incredible female characters. And I hear that also translates off camera as well.
Yeah.
And that you are able to kind of give more of your feedback than maybe in past projects, and are able to kind of show more of your own thought process for the character with the directors, instead of just only taking the direction.
Yeah, I think, as an actor in the position that I am, and I'm sort of growing and changing and doing more shows, and it's been so amazing. But in the beginning, you really kind of feel, not just as a younger actor, but also as a woman, that you kind of have to take what you're handed, that you don't really have a lot of say in how things go or what you're comfortable with. And I think that in this particular environment, working for Ron Moore, who is so incredibly, he's so astute at knowing what the room needs. And oftentimes we tease him like, you're never on set, how come you're never on set? And Ron said, I'm not on set because things work smoothly when I'm not here, because no one's looking for the boss, or what's the boss think, And I think sort of that hands-off approach of knowing that we can all do this, that he can trust us to tell the story, it permeates through all of the work. It allows for us to make bolder choices, to take more risks, and to feel like we can really own the characters and our stories. So this experience, by far more than anything I've ever done, has really changed me as an artist, and changed me as a woman, where now I feel like I can just say, hey, listen, do you mind if we just talk for a few minutes, because the wording of this line just doesn't feel right to me, or I just don't feel like this vibes with the things that we talked about in scene 3 or whatever, and not feel like I'm going to be in the doghouse for it. So that kind of camaraderie, that egalitarian society where we're all on this flat plane of equals, really just working to serve the story, has made me feel a sense of confidence and power like I've never felt before.
I love that. That's incredible.
Thank you.
Do you think that you'll ever want to take the reins yourself and maybe step behind the camera into a new role?
Ooh, girl, that sounds scary. I mean, there are times when, we are in the middle of season 2 right now, so I don't want to give too much away, but it's cool. It's really cool. And there are scenes where, we're starting to shoot and then it's time to turn around, and they will unbolt an entire wall, pull the whole wall off, remove the ceiling because the director wants to get a shot from such a way that we have to dismantle the room. And I'm just reminded in those moments, like, how humbling it is to know so little about filmmaking, even though I've been doing this for a while and I went to drama school and I feel very confident in myself as an actor. I also see that, to be a filmmaker, to sit in the director's chair, there's an eye in which you see the world that I don't see the world that way. So I don't want to limit myself and say that I would never be a director, but I really have a lot of respect for each and every department. I see how the makeup artists take so much pride in their work, and and it goes all the way through every single department on our production. And so for now, I think I should just play my part in the band, even if some episodes it's the tambourine and other episodes it's lead guitar. You just got to do your part. Yeah.
That's really solid advice for actors as well. I love that.
But to each their own, you know. I mean, some actors are like, this has inspired me to tell stories and have more control over the story. And I don't see that as my journey right now, but I think that that's okay.
I do love, though, that you do have such a commanding performance, too. You know that you own this character.
Thank you.
Like, you walk in and you are not Krys, you are Danielle.
Thank
so
you.
your eye just goes immediately to you. What was the first moment that you were on set that you really took a step back and you're like, this is something special, this is unique, this is a show that is going to resonate?
Ah, gosh, there's so many moments. There's so many little moments. My very first day on set was one of the classroom scenes with the girls, and you know, all of the background actors are dolled up and they've got their hair in pins, and then you really see the world. You know, our mission control set is a 2-scale mock-up of mission control in 1969. So everything from the fabric and the American flag all the way to the shape of the windows and the walls, I mean, it is to a T mission control. So that's when that's when the outside environment really influences you. But I'll say, when I personally felt like I stopped asking to play Danielle and just started to play her, I think was when I met the actor who plays my husband, Edwin. When I met him at the table read, there was something that was just so electric. Don't tell my husband, but man, I fell in love. I was like, oh, yeah, I just thought he was so, you know, magnanimous and energetic, and it was something that, even though, you know, Danielle's love life is a part of her story, a bigger part of her story is who she is as an engineer. But I think that part was so foreign to me that I still felt like I was a little bit in training wheels kind of figuring that out. But I know what it's like to be in love. I know what it's like to have a husband. I know what it's like to care so much about your work and have your man want the world for you and not fully understand it. You know, my husband builds houses for a living, so he doesn't understand what any of this is, but just roots me on. And so there was something about meeting Clayton and just feeling like, oh, this is my home. You know, this is where now I see who she is and truly how she navigates the world in so many ways, not only as an astronaut, but as a wife, as a lover, as a partner. I think that day was when it really, the gong went off in my mind, and I was like, oh, there's no turning back.
And I love that this chemistry on the show is so almost hypnotic with,
Thank you.
not just between you and your husband on the show, but with you and also your colleagues, especially the team of women. Did you ever have a time that they scheduled out for you to hang out with each other to kind of build that chemistry, or was it just instantaneous as well?
We had an early lunch with Garrett Reisman, who is an actual astronaut who works as a technical advisor on our show, to make sure that when we're on the moon that we're moving the right way, and that if we say something, it's, you know, T98 and not, you know, that we're not botching the language of how it all works. And so that lunch was really early on in the process, and that was when I got to know the girls. But I think it's a testament to Ron and Ben and Matt, who've gotten together this group of people who really operate without a lot of ego. And so, I mean, early on, I remember Jody was the first person I met. She was, her trailer was beside mine, and that we both had the same first day of work. And I just was like, instant connection. And it's been like that ever since. I mean, all of us, we hang out. You know, we threw one of our castmates a baby shower as a surprise. Aww. Like we get on like a house on fire. And so there wasn't a whole lot of work that needed to be done to create that kismet. Kind of just happened on its own.
I love that. That's just a testament to everybody on this show, I think, too. Now, I know that you also, in what little downtime you do get, because you're working so much, you have traveled all over the world. Do you have a favorite location that you've ever been to?
Yeah, that is my addiction, travel. We love to travel, and I think there's something that sort of shifts in you when you get off that plane and you realize that you can't rely on your cell phone because there's no service there. You can't rely on language because you don't speak the language. You don't know where you're going, and you kind of have to sort of surrender to the environments, eat foods that you're not accustomed to eating. And I get high on that experience of doing all the things. I think we've been a lot of places. We've been up to almost 50 countries. I would say the sort of most embodying of all the travel highs is we were in Southern Africa. We went to South Africa, Zimbabwe, Botswana, and oh God, one other, I'm forgetting a whole country. And while we were there, we bungee jumped into Victoria Falls.
Oh.
And it really came on a whim where we'd heard through another couple, oh my gosh, we did this, it was such an incredible experience. And my husband's terrified of heights. And I was like, we're not leaving here until we do this. And so, you go one at a time. And he said, I have to go first because if I see you go, I'll have to walk to the bottom of the bridge. I'll never jump. And so the jump, of course, was terrifying and scary. But the coolest part was after you jump, you're hanging upside down in this enormous gorge, which was created by, I don't know, the Big Bang. I mean, who knows how long the Victoria Falls Gorge has been there. And all you can hear is just the sort of like low, quiet rushing of the water that's hundreds of feet below you, and the people you jumped from are hundreds of feet above you, and you're in like upside down in this canyon, and it's like womb-like or something, and you're just there, and it was like complete serenity and just peace, and yeah, that was lovely.
That sounds terrifying to me.
Scary? Good.
That is like the opposite. I would be like,
Don't get me.
Do you feel that because you embrace these new, what most people I think would think are scary experiences just wholeheartedly, that it makes you more adventurous and more courageous as an actress as well?
I can't think of anything scarier than being an actor in Hollywood. I mean, you really have to be out of your mind to want to do this for a living. And, every day I have so much admiration for all artists, not just actors, but for me, and I speak about this often to other actors, that people get to see the other part of it. They get to see you on the carpet, and you look beautiful, and you talk about the jobs that you got. We don't talk enough about the jobs that you don't get, or the times when you feel like I will never work again, and am I wasting my time, and is it too late for me to go to dental school, like you just start to reconsider everything. And so, I know that life is precious, and I love this so much, what I do. I care so much about it. I know we're not curing cancer, but I do think that we bring joy to people's lives. I grew up a little kid watching a ton of TV. I like to joke and say I was raised by a TV. And so, having the opportunity to enter people's homes and influence their lives in a positive way, I think we actually change the DNA of our culture by doing that. To me, it is an honor to be an actor, and as tough as it is when you don't get the job or when you come close and then you find out that you're not the choice, the moments when you get to work on a project that you feel so strongly about, like I do about For All Mankind, make all the difference.
Well, we are very, very happy that you were the choice for Danielle, because
thank you.
Incredible character, incredible show. Thank you so much for coming and sitting down.
Thank you for having me. This was so much fun.
And where can everybody catch up more with you and also watch For All Mankind on Apple TV?
So these guys should definitely watch our show on Apple TV. If you haven't seen episode 7, Hi Bob, it is a really good one. Not just because I'm in it, but because it's just a great capsule of a story. And then we've got 3 more episodes this season. We've got season 2 coming up. And they can also follow me on Instagram, Krys Marshall on Instagram. That'll be fun.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And congratulations.
Thank you so much.
And of course, you guys can check out all of our celebrity interviews at MEA Worldwide. That's MEAWW.com. Until next time, I'm Elena Jordan. Have a good day.